In 2002, director Richard Linklater cast a 6-year-old boy. Over the next 12 years, they made movie history.
You guys ready to have some fun? Yeah! What do you want to be, Mason? What do you want to do?
Boyhood.
I thought about it from 1999 to 2001. I wanted to make a film about childhood.
Did you have a sense of what kind of set you on childhood as a subject?
My ideas were all over. I couldn't pick one year. I think what I was trying to express was what it feels like to grow up. So I was out of ideas and kind of giving up on it as a film. And then the form found me. You know, it just kind of popped in my head like, oh, if I just filmed a little bit every year. Cool idea, but then the practicalities of it are almost overwhelming. But I don't know, I'm a pretty patient guy, I think. You know?
Looks like you use the bumpers.
Bumpers are for kids. You know, what are you, 2 years old?
You sort of had the idea of the sort of the beginning and the end. How much of what happened in the middle was in your head at that?
It was all the bigger architecture. I'd say was all kind of laid out. I never questioned it. It ended with him going to school, college. You know, that's where the 12 years came from.
And the specifics were you met once a year and shot for a few days a year?
Yeah. Usually about 3. The shoots were usually about 3 or 4 days. It was like making a movie every year. You had to get the crew back together, casting, and you're location scouting, and you're getting insurance. And prep time on this makes no sense. I mean, nothing makes much sense, actually. For an indie film, you wouldn't usually spend, you know, 39, 40 weeks in prep to do an indie film. And you certainly wouldn't spend 2 years, year and a half in post. But that was what this necessitated.
Can you believe they're both out of high school?
No.
Tell us about casting and point.
Yeah, I'd known Ethan since he was 23. When I first talked to him about it, he already had 2 kids. And I thought, oh, he's kind of a youngish father at this point.
I never thought I'd hear you say that.
Well, it's true.
Yeah, he came aboard, and I rember asking him about Patricia, because I thought Patricia, too.
Why? What was... Well, I get the impression you didn't know her very well when you first talked to her.
I thought she was, you know, just a good actor.
Oh, that won't be a problem. He can call Grandma.
She had been a mom young mom at like 20. So I thought that was really interesting. We just talked for 2 hours about our moms and what this could be and everything. And she came aboard, you know, just on one phone call, committed to 12 years. You know, so.
How about you? How was your week?
Fun?
What you been up to?
Nothing really.
I had Ethan and Patricia.
Right.
My daughter Lorelai.
Yeah. When did you decide that she'd play the?
I think she decided. Actually, she more or less cast herself, which was fine with me because I knew where she'd be every year, and she was perfect for the part.
I mean, he didn't even ask. He just cut it. I mean, it's my hair.
Then you had to find the boy.
That was the hard part.
Yeah, and so auditions. Yeah. How did that?
Yeah, auditions.
And what was it about L.R. Coltrane that really spoke to you? Back then, when he was, what, 6 when you saw him?
He was 6 when I met him, 7 when we started shooting. He wasn't like a kiss-up kid. You know, a lot of kid actors are kind of cute, maybe, and know how to please adults. He didn't really care what you thought of him. He was just himself.
There's no, like, real magic in the world, right?
So much of this movie was pretty autobiographical. So I was like, he was the better side of me, the more artistic, thoughtful kid.
Did you collaborate at all with them?
Ethan describes it as the music was all written and the lyrics were still being, like, that's probably a decent enough analogy.
He wrote one of the songs, right?
Yeah,
also,
Ethan, the music he's singing, and those are songs he wrote. That's Ethan. He brings everything. He's the best collaborator imaginable. He's pushing you to get where you want to go.
You know what I'm realizing? My life is just gonna go like that. This series of milestones.
We've been thinking about these scenes for, 11 years. Like, what was it like, when you left for college? I was asking friends, and my producer, Kathleen Sutherland, had just, like a month before, taken her daughter to college. Called her daughter in her dorm room and just said, before she gets on her plane, just so you know, this is the worst day of my life. I'm like, you said that to her? Yeah. It's all about mom.
Yeah. How hard was this to sell to people when you were trying to get this film financed? And you said, what I want to do is make a 12-year movie.
Now that, as you can imagine, is a weird thing to ask. Everybody kind of liked the idea. They could see the movie I described, and it was kind of cool in their minds, but they're like, we just can't wrap our head around the money thing. Like, we don't see our money for 13 years. I mean, I just, you know, they couldn't do it. But I got lucky that IFC, I'd done 2 films with them, and they jumped on board.
Like, right this second, there's like no elves in the world, right?
No, technically no elves.
So much about this was so unusual. Just the idea that you're filming a period film, but you're shooting it in the present. It's a good low budget way to do a period film. Just shoot and wait